how am I going to get better? Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself, especially as believers. Sometimes we're like, we don't want to say that word. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you need to be honest with yourself. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thrive with Dee podcast. I am Dee Giles, and I'm excited to be with you all today because today we're going to be talking about a topic that is super important to me. It's near and dear to my heart. It is about reinventing yourself. Ladies, men, how do you reinvent yourself? How do you go on this journey of personal growth? First of all, what is reinvent, right? Because when you hear that, you're like, well, God created me. He created me and I'm perfect. I'm created in his image and his likeness. Yes, but I want you to go ahead and listen to this, all right, before you crucify me. Here it goes. Reinvent. It means to change something so much that it appears to be entirely new. That's what it means, to change something so that it appears to be entirely new. The meaning of reinvent is to make as if for the first time something already invented. Yes, God created us for sure, but this is what happens as you're here on this earth, as we're dealing with situations, because we all deal with them. So you get out of your mama and daddy's womb, and life hits you pretty hard, right? I mean, life can hit you with a traumatic experience. Life can hit you where your parents, something probably happened with your parents. Life can definitely hit you hard even as a child. But how do you reinvent yourself to become the person that God has created you to be in the first place before life hit? Because life is going to hit. Life just hits hard sometimes. So the reason why this topic is important to me is because I've met so many people that they start off really, really good and you're like, dude, like what happened? What is going on with you? But this is what takes place. Unless you take time to get to know yourself, you're going to be going in all of these different directions. What do I mean by get to know yourself? Know, of course, the Lord, know your maker, who he is, but get to spend some time with yourself. Like for me, it was get to know Dee. All right. So I have some practical steps that's really going to help you here. And as you're watching, or listening, I'm really praying that this is going to help you thrive in every area of your life. And you can share it with somebody. You can leave a comment below on how you are reinventing yourself in this season and how you plan to grow in this season of your life. The first step I said was self-reflection. And I'm going to insert a clip here from Jordan B. Peterson. I hope I'm saying his name right. A clip that he talks about is one of my favorite people to listen to on certain things. And there's a clip where he's saying on just how to grow with yourself, how to grow in this journey of personal growth. And he talks about the first thing is really sitting down with yourself, reflecting on the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I want to go ahead and play this clip for you really quick. Just take a listen.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say, what's one thing I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? You meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
We see here that you have to take time to understand your weaknesses. Take time to understand your strengths as you are trying to grow. The number one key to level up this year, to reinvent yourself on this journey of personal growth, is getting to know your strengths and getting to know your weaknesses. Not only that, get to know some of your values. If you sit down with yourself and you get to know what your weaknesses are, you know what you can change. If you sit down with yourself, like at night on your bed and you journal, whatever it is, you get to sit down and you say, you know what? I know exactly what my strengths are. You begin to write those things down. What is it that I do well? What is it when I'm performing well at? And you get to sit down and you say, you know what? This is what I'm great at. And this is one of my strengths that I can probably use to make money, or I can probably use to, there's so many avenues that you can go with this. But if you look and you say, what are my values? What are my core values? This is the way you're going to shift your life. You're going to reinvent yourself in such a great and powerful way. Because if there's one thing that helped change me when I wanted to change, was I sat down and I was like, Dee, What are some things we need to work on? Because I had a lot of things that I needed to work on. And I would list them down. I would say, okay, you know what? This is what I'm struggling with in this area. This is how I perceive myself. And when I wrote those things down, I say, how now can I get better at it? So you got to ask yourself, if I'm going to level up in 2024, whether it be in my communication, if my communication sucks, how am I going to get better? Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself, especially as believers. Sometimes we're like, we don't want to say that word. It's cursed. We're cursing ourselves. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you need to be honest with yourself. And you need to say, you know what? I can do much better in my communication skills. So I'm going to go ahead and take a communication course. I'm going to go ahead and begin to read books on communication. I'm going to strengthen that thing so I can get better. So self-reflection. Number 2 is set your goals. Set clear goals. I am big on setting goals, even with my She Thrives Ladies mentorship. What we were working on in the beginning of the year was having everybody with their Thrive planning. And the reason why I like to set goals is because you have an actionable, measurable plan for the year. Who doesn't want a plan? Write down those plans, because you know what? The enemy wants to come and steal your time. If you're not taking your time to plan, have an actionable plan, then you know what? He wins. You just gave him full authority over your day, your month, your hours, your year. So sit down and plan, have specific goals, achievable goals for your personal health, for your personal self-development. Like I'm telling you right now, this is how you reinvent yourself. Set goals. My goal was to record a podcast every single week. And I'm going to do that. Record a podcast every single week for the year of 2024. For as God is going to go ahead and let me, that's my plan. My other plan was to really take my health journey very serious this year with working out every single week and running. So my heart, I can work on the endurance for my heart, and I can begin to do things and run and just enjoy my time with my children. But my body is a temple, so I set goals for that. We have financial goals, ministry goals. Listen, this is how you're going to reinvent yourself. You can't just fly by. If you want to get better, set some clear goals and have self-reflection. Self-reflection was one of the biggest things for me, and then I was able to set goals, right? And then you can have professional goals. Like, how do you plan on growing this year? If you are a content creator, how do you plan on growing? If you are a business owner, what are your plans for growth? All right, how did I get the results I did last year? And would spending more time and energy get me better results? Or would it be being efficient by upping my prices in less time and less energy, right? You got to ask yourself those questions, and then take those goals, break them down into small goals. That way you can get to where you need to go. But if you're going to reinvent yourself, self-reflection, once I got to know who I was, how I functioned, then I was like, I can set goals. Because I'm a person, especially in ministry as well, prophetic, everything. Sometimes we get carried away. We're like, you know what? We're going to do this next week. We're going to go ahead and do this next week because God just told me to do this. In order for me to stay centered, I got to have a plan. I got to have a goal. Write the vision down, right? How many of you guys can agree with me? Write the vision down. Get a piece of paper. I want to challenge you and just begin to write the vision down. All right. So another way to reinvent yourself this year and to grow personally would be to learn and acquire new skills. If you see me looking, it's because I'm reading off my notes, but learn and acquire new skills. I set myself on a mission. Actually, I started late last year. I set myself on a mission to do better with my communication. Why? I believe communication is everything. If you know how to communicate, you know how to get your message across, your story across, you can win the ears of many. But not only that, you can transform cities, transform families, transform nations. You can also transform your business. Your business can begin to grow because you know how to communicate and articulate your message well, articulate your sentences well, so that you are able to capture people. And when I say capture, I don't mean deceptiveness, but people are able to really not only hear your story, but feel like they're living through your story. And therefore they relate to you. And when they relate to you, they're like, you know what you're doing, I support, I want to be part of it, right? So that was my skill. That's the skill that I want to do great at, is I want to excel in my communication. So pick a skill. What's something that you want to grow in? And for some, I know some of the ladies in my She Thrive mentorship was like, I want to read more. I want to read more books, because when you read more, which I'm teaching my children, when you read more, you're able to do so many things. You're able to grow. And so people who are reading, who are studying communication, are growing at an accelerated rate. Coaches, business owners, ministers, leaders, pastors, if you know how to get a message across, you're winning. Let's win, right? So learn and acquire new skills, identify skills that align with your goals, and invest time in developing them. So here's what I want to tell you. When you invest time, look at it as you're not wasting time, because sometimes that happens, right? We're like, you know what? We're wasting time because we're sitting here and we're investing time, and we're sitting here, we're learning, we're taking hours, we're like reading a book for 30 minutes and read another book for 30 minutes. And then sometimes we'll jot that. It's not wasting, it's all investment. There's going to be a return on that investment. Who doesn't want a return on the investment of learning a new skill? Think Solomon here. Have wisdom. Solomon was one of the richest men, and he had wisdom. Learn a new skill, all right? With learning a new skill, this might involve taking courses. I plan on taking a few courses this year. We are not only course creators, but also people who invest in courses. So I'm going to invest in a course for me, for my personal growth on something that I want to learn this year. And also get a mentor. I can't stress this enough. Some people are like, they want to go and do everything their own. Here's the beauty of having a mentor. I'm going to share the beauty with you guys. I think I learned this from Mike Murdoch. The beauty of having a mentor is they already went through a lot of the things that you are going through now. Why not cut your time in half, shorten it by listening to someone who has more experience in that area than you do, by listening to some of the mistakes that they made so they can show you how to avoid some of the pitfalls. So get you a mentor, whether it be in exercising, because for me, I got me a personal trainer. I needed help. Although I used to run track. Can you imagine? Can y'all like picture me running right now? Like I was a sprinter. I used to run track. Y'all might be picturing me running now because, as you know, I run back and forth on stage, like back and forth all the time. But I used to run track, and I still kind of chase my children around. My son's very fast. But now I'm like, I need a personal trainer because I'm not old either. Yeah, at the age that I am now, I'm like, I need a little bit more accountability when it comes to actually getting my workouts out. Anyways, but yes. And then another step to reinventing yourself, another step to reinventing myself is going to be cultivating a positive mindset. I cannot stress this enough. Listen, I think we are our own worst critics. Like we can literally be people who sit there and can talk ourselves out of a positive mindset. Humans can sit there and talk themselves into a negative mindset. You can sit there and be your worst person, or you can sit there and say, you know what, today I choose to have positive thinking. I choose to focus on the good things. I choose to challenge negative talk. I had to tell myself that all that negative talk was witchcraft, literally. Once I begin to understand that complaining and negative talk was witchcraft, because that cannot stem from God. Because when the people of Israel, think about that, when they were complaining, when God just took them out of the land of Egypt, and all they did was complain and complain. Moses, you done brought us out here to die. Moses, you done brought us out here and we ain't got no food. Moses, That upset God. They had to like repeat the process, go around a journey that was supposed to take them just a few days, took them 40 years. Negative talk is going to be a setback. So in order to reinvent yourself and grow and level up this year, literally have a positive mindset, challenge negative self-talk, and then surround yourself with this positive mindset. You need to surround yourself with supportive influences and seek inspiration from successful people. For women, Seek inspiration from other like-minded women, from other women who are successful, from women who have overcome challenges. I feel like as women, sometimes we don't want to like ask other women for help, and you can. There's other women out there. And for the women who are like, why aren't they asking me for help? Can I just share something with you? Sometimes it may be your what you're giving off. Like you may be giving off that don't come, like I don't want to talk to you. You might be giving off that don't say nothing to me, don't ask me no questions. If you want someone to be open up to talking to you and asking you for advice, be open. Like be so open that we feel comfortable to come to you, like Titus 2, you know, the older women reaching back to the young women. We feel comfortable to talk to you and ask you questions. We don't feel like you're shutting us off and closing us off. All right. So just surround yourself with supportive people who can inspire you to grow, people who are doing something that you want to do. Another one would be to take care of your well-being. I told y'all, like this year, guys, especially in the very beginning of the year, I got really sick, just a little bit. It wasn't really bad, but I do not like getting sick. I'm a big baby, and it's taking me a while in the forms of recovering chest-wise, meaning there's a lot of dry coughs. And so I can't stand that. And I was like, I don't want to go through that again, because as a mom, come on, mamas, you know, we already have to take care of our children, and you know, we got to take care of the husband, because that's like an extra. That's when your kids. That's like when your kids sometimes. I don't know about y'all. But, you know, just to say, so that's like another, you know, you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do laundry. And I was down. And so this kind of pushed me into the arena of saying, what better foods can I have? What drinks can I make myself? What, like with ginger and lemon and cayenne and like garlic and water, like, and turmeric? How can I lower the inflammation in my body so that I can function better? I want to live a long life so I can accomplish my assignment here on earth. You too. I want you to repeat after me. I want to live a long life so I can accomplish my assignment here on earth. My purpose requires me to be alive. My purpose requires me to finish out my mission to do the work of the Lord. And I have to look out for my well-being. And I have to say my well-being is not only prioritizing my physical health, but it's also prioritizing my mental health. Y'all know what I'm saying? That mental health is, and for me, and I did this on my Thrive planning with the ladies, and I told them, for me, prioritizing my mental health has a lot to do with what I'm seeing on the screen, what I'm seeing on social media, what I'm seeing on, like, how much TV are you watching a day? If you're giving up yourself for TV, man, you're not elevating. You're watching other people make money. You're watching other people live their dreams, and you're sitting here on the couch, brain dead. Almost just watching them and watching and consuming. All you do is consume, but you don't apply. If I'm going to watch something, it has to be something that is education that's going to help me. The only time I watch, and some people, y'all might know it here, only time I watch something for pleasure a little bit is in the evening when I'm about to go to bed, and y'all know I got to watch my Law and Order. But you know what? I'm solving some crimes. So don't judge me. I'm just solving some crimes. But really just care for your mental health. What are you seeing on the screen? Lower your time on social media. If you're going to watch something that's going to leave a positive impact in your life, like Thrive with Dee podcast. All right, just a plug in there. Watch something that's going to leave a positive impact on your life, and definitely don't just consume. And I would also say have a balanced diet and practice meditation. Now, what I mean by meditation is what I mean is the word of the Lord, the word of God. Take the word of God and begin to consume it daily and meditate on what God is speaking to you for the day. If it's a verse, take that verse and begin to break it down in your mind. Meditate on it. What does it mean, God? Just really meditate on that and just live a healthy lifestyle. Because when you do that, it will contribute to a positive self-image. You're going to begin to feel better. And when you feel better and you think better about yourself, you start to look better too. You know what I'm saying? Just a little plug in there. When you feel better, you start to think better thoughts, you look better. We can tell that you look better. You look great. And so another tip in reinventing yourself is Build a strong support network. It's time, and I don't mean to sound mean, but it's time to remove the people out of your life that is not serving a purpose. What do I mean by that? There are people that will literally not let you go. It's like they're pulling you down, they're keeping you down. And in order for you to ascend and go up higher, you have to really think to yourself and say, is this person, are these people that I'm around, are they elevating with me, or are they trying to keep me down here? Are we mounting up as wings as eagles, or are we staying down here like chickens? We can't, you have to be able to say, I need a supportive network. People who are like-minded, people who are trying to achieve the same goal. We're trying to walk out our assignment and our purpose. We are trying to reinvent ourselves. We're trying to do better for ourselves. So here's the best way I can describe this. You ever hear those stories of when people are like, I got out of the hood, and when I got out of the hood, everybody called me a sellout because I got out the hood. It's not that you're a sellout. You want to do better for yourself. Then you should never have to apologize for wanting to do better for yourself. You know, you can encourage people to come on with you. You can try to keep taking them out. You can try to keep pulling them out. You can go back for your people and say, come on, I want you to come. Let's go. Let's do this together. But you can't force nobody out. If they don't want to go, let them stay. All right. So have a supportive group. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift and encourage you. Share your aspirations with friends or mentors who can provide guidance and motivation. All right. And for me, I would say one of the last steps is to embrace change. Embrace change. Embrace it. Embrace it. This Jordan B. Peterson clip that I played for you guys before, I'm going to enter it in and play it again one more time right here.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say, what's one thing I'm doing wrong that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? You meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
Yes. And the way that you embrace change, the way that you're going to embrace change is by really reflecting and working on those things that need to be worked on, and understanding and saying, you know what? It's time for me to shift. It's time for me to elevate. It's time for me to ascend. It's time for me to reinvent myself and grow. And upon this growth journey, I understand that I need to embrace change. I need to be open to adapting and evolving. I need to embrace change because this is going to allow me to grow. It's going to allow me to be just a better person. It's going to allow me to be the person that God has called me to be. It's going to help me to discover. I want you to hear this. It will help you to discover new aspects of yourself. When I decided to embrace change and say, I'm getting a little higher up there in age. I'm not, like I said, I'm not old. I'm really young. To everybody, like I'm like a baby. But as your body starts to change, right? And this is what I equate it to. As your body's changing, you start to say, hormones are changing. Come on, ladies, if y'all understand what I'm talking about, especially after children. So hormones, everything's changing, and I had to adapt. I had to write down. I got my journal. Anybody here with me? And you say, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to change. Something needs to shift right now. So I got my journal and I began to write. I said, okay, my hormones are off right now. I can't think clearly. I want to tear off everybody's head, and something needs to shift. And I understand. I was like, okay, what's going on? And once I began to embrace change, I'm like, it's my body. Something's happening with my hormones. Now I know how to fix it. I'm eating the right foods. I'm praying over my body, getting that oil out, right? But at the same time, I know that I got to work out, and the workouts have shifted. It's no longer the things that I used to do, but because my body's changed, I have to work out differently. It's the same thing when you're reinventing yourself, when you are on a journey of personal growth. Is saying, this is what I've discovered about myself. Now, how can I do better? How can I do it God's way? How can I take care of my body as a temple of the Holy Ghost? Because it's time to level up. You get what I'm saying? Like, how can I do better? The only way I can do better is if I actually take time and reflect on myself, and then as I reflect, look at what I need to change by setting those goals. And as I set those goals, understand that I have to adapt and I actually have to take action and work on those goals. Without action, nothing's going to be done. You're just going to be a person who is saying, I plan on reinventing myself. How many of you, and you can put it on the comments below, how many of you plan on reinventing yourself this year, 2024? Like you said, 2023 was a great year, but this year, God is calling me to level up in my business. He's calling me to level up with whether it's your personal brand. This year, He's calling me to level up in my ministry. Like my ministry almost needs, I need to level up in my prayer life, and I need to actually take time and shift things and reintroduce myself. And here I am, and take time and say, so with the Thrive planning, what we do is we take an assessment of what happened in 2023 or the prior year. If you're watching this another time, we do an assessment and we say, this is some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that I can grow from. Here's some of the things I didn't like. Because when you do an assessment, now you're saying, this is how I'm going to do better. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. We're measuring ourselves against ourselves. I want you to hear that again. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. We're measuring ourselves against ourselves. Every single time I go up on these journeys, I'm not comparing myself to anyone else, because you can think the grass is greener on somebody else's side, and it's really not. I have to sit back and I say, all right, I was able to do like 20 push-ups last year straight in a row. I want to be able to do double that within the first quarter. How do I get there? You want to run a marathon. You're like, I want to run a marathon. I've never run a marathon before. How do I do it? We have to train for endurance. That's actually one of the words that I got for 2024 for the word of the Lord was stamina, endurance. And so we have to go, we have to train ourselves for endurance. We have to train ourselves to run the race, right? And so that's going to take self-reflection. That's going to take time and say, how do I reinvent myself into this runner that I actually was not before? And I can go and grab books and read about it. I can see, okay, here are the foods that I need to eat before I run. Here are some of the foods that I eat after I run to fuel my body. Maybe I need some amino acids. Here are some steps to running each day so I don't tire myself out. Here's how I build up stamina to get to that run. Those are your goals. But what you did was you reflected and you said, I'm not here. How do I get there? So 2024 for me is all a year about just growing. And it should always be for everybody. We should all strive to grow. You shouldn't always be content with just where you are. You should always want to grow. Invest in some books. Invest in some books that will take you further. Invest in some books for your business. Anybody have some good recommendation for books here? I'm talking about for like personal growth. Lay it out. Just put it in the comments. I would love to look. I'm talking about personal growth books, books for habits. I've heard about Atomic Habits. I haven't read it yet. But there are growth books. There are podcasts. There are things that you could look in. You could say, I'm trying to, like I said, grow in my communication. So I am going to invest time in listening to ways I can increase in my communication. I'm going to read more. Hello? Or you might want to say, for some people, it might just be the clothes they wear. If you're going to reinvent yourself, I'm going to say this, and as much as it might sound a little vain, I don't think it is, because it also talks about the Proverbs 31 woman dressing well. I believe if you're going to reinvent yourself, please change your attire. Like, dress in the way that you want to be known, as you want to be perceived. Because if you're dressing, and I like to tell people this when they're like, I'm attracting the wrong person, attracting the wrong man. I'm like, have you took a look at how you're dressing? What are you wearing? Do you want him to see you as a classy woman, or do you want him to see you as a woman that's just easy to grab, easy to get, because all you want is attention? Or is your outfit what you're saying is, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, I am classy, I am royalty, I am a daughter of the king? Reinvent yourself, ladies. Change your attire. Go on Pinterest. Go begin to look at different ways that classy women dress, and dress that way. How you want to be taken seriously. And I know it sounds crazy. I remember reading this from Mike Mike Murdoch before, Dr. Mike Murdoch, and I love his books. And one of his books had a lot to do, I forgot which book it was, but he was talking about the way people dress. And he's like, you should dress for your assignment. That's number one. Dress for your assignment. Dress for where you're going. Reinvent yourself. Dress for where you're going. If I had to say the biggest takeaway, and I hope that this is going to help you, the biggest thing that you could leave with from this podcast is take time and reflect. If you want to go on a journey of reinventing yourself, get a journal out, take time, and just get to know yourself. Get to know your weaknesses. Get to know the things that you need to work on and do better at. Because we all need to do that. And once you're there, once you understand that these are things that you need to work on, you'll become a better person. Because guess what? You're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for you. And God's going to help you along with that process. If I had to put some spiritual principles in it, I would say renounce those things that you have issues with. If you know that you have an anger problem, and any single time you get angry, you don't sit, you don't listen, but you just mouth off, ask God to deliver you from anger. Now start to put actionable steps so that you don't respond that way, right? A quick-tempered person they respond quickly. So start training yourself not to respond. Start training yourself not to speak at all. If you cannot control yourself, start training yourself for that. Let that be a way that you reinvent yourself. So here is to a great year of prospering, of reinventing yourself, of personal growth in the Lord, and just watch this year take off for you, because you are not competing against anyone but yourself. You are trying to be a better person that God wants you to be. Hello, you're trying to walk in His assignment, in His ways. And this is what I'm going to leave with you. That remember that personal growth is a journey. It doesn't all happen in one day. Personal growth is a journey. But here on Thrive with Dee podcast, I'm willing to just walk with you through this journey of growth, because what we're going to be talking about are just different ways to level up this year, different ways, just some things, some thought-provoking things, how to level up in your communication, your marriage, your family, your spiritual life. This is what it's about. It's about growth. So I pray that this was a blessing for you today, and it's going to be a great and solid, and I mean solid year. But take your time, and I mean this with everything. Take your time and just really jot down some of those things. This is what I tell people. Jot down some of those things that you want to grow in, the skills that you want to learn, that you want to level in. And as you jot it down, as you are making your way towards that growth, you're going to be shocked at how you level up this year. I can't wait to see the changes. I can't actually wait to hear the testimonies about how you are leveling up this year already. And I can't wait to hear about some of the ways that you plan to level up. All right.